They are quicker than the old KF2s. Although somebody's going to come and correct me, I'm sure. Tell me that an engine back in the late 90s that was quicker than the current generation. Let's just say they're fast. Kimber on the outside of row 1. Dante Yu on pole position. Dante Yu, well, he was a bit hard done by. He was certainly moved aside, as it were, and we've got the same 16 drivers that showed their face this morning. Jordan Brown-Nutley, I'm assuming, has withdrawn from this particular class, and he's still got senior X30 to worry about. But it is Dante Yu and Mark Kimber on row 1, Luke Knott and Rasmus Lind row 2, Oliver Hodgson and Scott Mackerel row 3, then Archie Tillett and Callum Bradshaw row 4, Ben Waldridge and Jake Douglas row 5, Juan Sabater and Laura Tillett row 6, James Lingard and Rory Hudson row 7, and Ewan Wilson and Oliver Clark row 8. Clark, Waldridge and Bradshaw among the drivers. Definitely you need a good result. Off we go. Through the door, and something was fast. Tracking comes back on in front of the pack. Smoke billowing out of the back of that that cart. All somehow continue with Kimber ahead of the train. Yu second, and then it is the Fusion Motorsport number 12 of Rasmus Lind, followed by Luke Knott, Oliver Hodgson, and Laura Tillett has made a good start, but she was just thinking about passing it. I think that was one of the M Sport carts, and the M Sport cart, that must be Oliver Clark, that just defended, and she had to back out of it on that occasion. But Dante Yu, the comp cart, the American driver, the Californian, he is now giving chase to Kimber as they complete lap number 1. Lind in third, Luke Knott under pressure, and Oliver Hodgson in fourth, with Callum Bradshaw right behind Hodgson. Back, Rory Hudson has not made the best of starts. I'm trying to figure out who went over the grass at the start. It may have been Scott Maxwell, you know. He's down in 14th place, and he needs a good result because he failed to finish the first heat today. And Kimber is looking a bit vulnerable at the moment. Dante Yu is having a little nibble around his rear end, and Oliver Hodgson, well, that's a sight you don't see very often. Hodgson losing ground. He is down to the 7th place. Long way to go, though. Kimber. There's Callum Bradshaw on your screens, and Bradshaw in the number 25 is now ahead of Luke Knott, so Bradshaw has moved up into 4th. The top 3 are pulling clear. Kimber, Yu and Lind. So, Solihull leads California, leads Sweden. Then a gap back to Bradshaw. Not Archie Tillett having a good week in the number 8 cart, and Tillett 5th last year. Going to go one better this year. Finished 8th in last year's British Championship, which is why he runs the number 8. Dante Yu is right on Kimber's rear bumper, and well, he is going to start making his presence felt. Good lap in progress for number 47, Ben Waldridge, the Utility Energy driver, effectively a privateer run kart. But he is up into 9th place, and Waldridge looked really quick yesterday, but then he failed to finish this morning. And there's Oliver Clark flashing through your screen. He's now ahead of Archie Tillett, so Tillett has lost ground. In fact, Tillett is down to 8th place, Clark up to 7th. Warning flag to Ewan Wilson. Number 11. He is now in 11th place. And Callum Bradshaw sets the fastest lap of the race. Dante Yu loses the position. Well, Rasmus Lind passes Dante Yu, so Yu has gone from challenging for the lead to trying to hold on to 3rd place because Bradshaw is right there, so he's not, so is Hodgson. Hodgson in 6th, Clark then is 7th, followed by Tillett, Archie Tillett, Waldridge, Wilson, Laura Tillett, and Lingard, the independent, another privateer driver, with Mackerel Saboteur, Jake Douglas and Rory Hudson. The remaining runners, all 16 starters still running at the end of lap number 4. But Kimber now stretching that advantage. Callum Bradshaw really pushing the envelope. Oh, he's got to the inside of Dante Ewan. Makes the move. Brave move there through turn number 3. Hodgson. That's the fastest lap. He isn't done yet either. But Hodgson is now behind Luke Knott, so he's still in 6th place. Kimber's lead is over a second. And a couple of different lines being taken here for the second hairpin. And there's 3 wide, and Hodgson, well, he picks up 2 places at the price of 1. And Dante Yu once again finds himself shuffled backwards, and that is obviously Dante Yu is a very, very quick driver. But he has put himself, and this is not a blaming thing, but he has found himself, or he's put himself in track positions that have resulted in him losing some of the ground he's worked very hard to gain. And that was one of those occasions because he now finds himself down in 6th position. He's probably thinking to himself, hang on, in a Californian type accent, hang on, I was about to pass that kid in the 45 for the lead a minute ago. Why am I now down in 6th? And track knowledge of people like Oliver Hodgson and Luke Knott, and Callum Bradshaw has seen to that. Rasmus Lint, his job is now to track down Kimber. Kimber's lead was 1 second. It's now 0.8 of a second. We are just over halfway. And it appears as though James Lingard, who has not, he's got a warning flag, and I think he's taken it personally because he hasn't come across the line. I don't think Lingard has finished the race this week so far, which is a real shame because the British Championship needs privateers. Cannot and has never been able to survive on big teams alone. It needs the independence. And whilst Ben Waldridge is having a decent week, Lingard is not, and there's yellow flags waving under the bridge. Who that is for, I do not know. Still Kimber in front, but Lint is getting closer still. Bradshaw 3rd, Hodgson 4th, and Hodgson is not making much of an impression on Bradshaw. But Bradshaw is closing in on Rasmus Lint at a rate of, I say rate of knots, a rate of a couple of tenths here and there. Let's see who is off on the banking as they come around. Yellow flags under the bridge. Can't see the cart that's off. There it is on the grass. Can't make out the number. That is Rory Hudson's cart possibly. Well, Lingard is still out there. I do apologise to all fans of James Lingard. His transponder didn't seem to show up. I think it was lap times that disappeared off my screen. I'm just going to quickly check that the number 36 is out there. So while you watch Oliver Hodgson going around that corner, Lingard is out there, and it appears to be Rory Hudson in the Thule Motorsport number 44 that has stopped. So we're down to, he was in 16th place out of the 16 kart field. We're down to 15 now. With Kimber now less than 0.6 of a second ahead of Lint. Lint has Bradshaw breathing down his proverbials. Hodgson in 4th, not making an impression, not 5th. Here comes Ben Waldridge. So Ascot's Ben Waldridge passes California's Dante Wu. And Dante Yu falling down the order rapidly. Into the first hairpin, and Archie Tillett passes Dante Yu. I don't know why Dante Yu has completely disappeared, because he's definitely there. He's on your screen. It's not me hallucinating. Archie Tillett into 8th. Waldridge 7th. Laura Tillett slipped back to 14th now behind Juan Saboteur. But Oliver Clark in that M Sport number 62, he's holding on to 9th place ahead of Ewan Wilson. And Mark Kimber is just about hanging on to his advantage at the front. So Rasmus Lint has just gained a couple of kart lengths on the chasing Callum Bradshaw. And sets the fastest lap of the race, 55.62. Kimber's lead teetering at about half a second. Was a full second. We've got 1 minute to go. Bradshaw third, Hodgson fourth, not fifth, actually the top five. They're close, but they're not close enough to start battling. Behind the top five, there is a gap back to Waldridge in top six. There's a gap to Waldridge back in seventh. It's Tillett, Wilson, Lingard. Well, come on now, James Lingard. I don't think you finished the race yet this week. If you can get a top 10, then that would be a bit of a boost heading into tomorrow. And we say that, Oliver Clark passes him into 10th place. If you get a top 11 finish, James, that'll be a decent boost into the last couple of races tomorrow. How's that? 30 seconds to go. Drivers still running. Hodgson goes quickly again, 55.55, but he is not going to make an impression on Callum Bradshaw, I don't think. If the clock strikes 0, next time around they will get the last lap board. Rasmus Lint up the short chute within 5/10. Callum Bradshaw from his mechanic getting the hurry up, saying, get up there and get on with it, boy. Callum Bradshaw, I'm sure, is aware of that message, because Lint has caught Kimber. Kimber will start to defend, and if Bradshaw is close enough, at the moment he's not, and in fact he's falling back into the clutches of Hodgson, just as I say that there was no chance of Hodgson catching him. We start the last lap. Rasmus Lint has caught Mark Kimber on the banking. Watch for the run the Swedish driver in Kart number 12 for Fusion Motorsport gets at this part here, down the hill. Mark Kimber was good through turn 4. He needed to be good through turn 4. Lint not close enough. The next chance that Rasmus Lint may get will be going into the Fullerton S's. Oh my word, he's gone for it! A corner early. Kimber wasn't expecting that, because Kimber, remember that he was a couple of kart lengths ahead going into the first hairpin. Kimber hadn't defended, so how could Rasmus gain so much ground? The answer is, just don't brake until you absolutely have to. And he's taken the lead. Kimber, well, he's fallen back into line, but Bradshaw is right there. That deviation from the racing line, that little bit of unsettlement was enough, but Lint holds on, and Bradshaw just fails to take second from Kimber. It's Lint, Kimber, Bradshaw and Hodgson. The top 4 karts cross the line, separated by less than a second. Knott is 5th, 6th for Ben Waldridge, good result for Ben. 7th is Archie Tillett. 8th across the line, Oliver Clark. 9th for Scott Mackerel. Oh, James Lingard gets his top 10 finish. Well done, James. That is something after a tough couple of days, I would imagine, for the driver from Huddersfield. Ewan Wilson, 11th in kart number 11, followed by Juan Sabater, his S8 Racing teammate, 12th. Then Dante Yu, the pole man. Oh, well, Dante is... I suppose Dante will be disappointed, but he's got one eye, well, he's got both eyes now on next month's World Championship, and all the mistakes he makes here and all the things he learns here, well, he won't be making them and learning them at the World Championships. He finishes 13th out of Jake Douglas and Laura Tillett, who was in the top 10 at one point, fades to 15th. Rory Hudson failed to finish. So we have 2 races to go. 2 heat races of Kart Masters 2017. The first of them will be race number 41, the last Junior X30 race, and then the final race of the day, Senior X